Hey everybody, welcome back to Doom Productions. This is a very special Filmmaker Hangout that we're doing today. We're covering, so if this is your first time in the Filmmaker Hangout series, what we're doing right now, we're going through like kind of a mini series where we're going through kind of our favorite movies that we've made throughout the last 8 years we've been working on this channel doing stuff. So this week is a very special one because we're talking about a movie that we think is our best film. This is For a Few Mustaches More. We made this back in 2014. We were just about to graduate. We had made this little film, if you guys watched last week's episode, you know, called Man with a Mustache. And we wanted to take that concept and like go all out with it, make it a full-on Western. So check out this movie, For a Few Mustaches More. Pause right now. Go check it out. There'll be a card right there that you can go watch, or there's a link in the description to like a playlist of all of our greatest hits. But yeah, this is when we're going to talk about For a Few Mustaches More.
This is why we started this series. This movie is why we started this series.
Yeah.
Of like, let's talk about our movies. This one is like, if you've seen the show, I mean, I think we've mentioned it before, but I genuinely believe, for me, this is the best thing I've ever directed. I think it's my favorite thing we've ever made. Well, this and House. I really love House. But you made that one mostly. So for me, this is, I think, my best. But let's talk about how it was made. Let's see.
Dive in.
I have the script right here. So the script was written. It's not dated. Oh no!
Oh no!
Hold up.
This was back when we didn't always date our projects.
Yeah. Is there no date? Okay, doesn't matter because I know it was filmed in spring of 2014 because I had this film written, I had it all storyboarded, and it's so funny. This was the planning. This was the extent of my pre-production planning right here.
Not even a full page.
And as I speak right beside, there's a huge wall of all these detailed stuff for Video Carnage. Anyways. Yeah, so it was all scripted, it was boarded, there was pre-production, and I can't remember when the original shoot date was going to be, but I remember, I went to a weird high school. I essentially went to college for high school for my last 2 years, and so it was called the early college program where you're just a high school student and you get college credit and your diploma. And during my spring term, our ceremony is kind of very untraditional because it was like we were going to get together, all the students and parents, have a little kind of, you graduated, yay. And my advisor said, hey, I know you make movies. Would you like to make a movie for this thing? And
Such a weird request.
Well, and he was like, he wanted people to show off their talents. So like people would sing or draw or, show painting or whatever. And for me, he knew I liked movies. So he's like, would you like to make a movie and show it? And before I knew about that, I wasn't even going to go because I was like, this is a small thing. I don't really care. I'm kind of over it. I don't really want to. But he said you could show a movie. And I was like, sign me up. I will be there. So I think then that fast-tracked things to get this movie made. And I remember it was even fast-tracked again because obviously, so it's you're playing the main guy. And I would assume it's the same character from the previous one.
That's how we went into
I believe you're like the Clint Eastwood character, like in the Dollars trilogy.
Exactly.
It was our friend Wyatt, who you saw in the Rendezvous Midnight. Papa Hobbs, Travis Hobbs playing Papa Hobbs, the greatest villain of the West. You'll get to know more of him in Righteous Hombres. And I remember I had other people scheduled to come and film too. I think there was maybe Ian was maybe.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
There's a couple other people who were going to appear, and I think we were going to shoot on like a weekend. But I remember being in class on Wednesday. It was a general science class, and I was with my friend, and they were saying, hey, what are you going to do this weekend? And I was like, oh, we're going to shoot this movie this day. It's going to be really cool. I'm going to play it at our graduation. And they were like, oh, it's supposed to rain this weekend, right? And I was like, what? It's supposed to rain? So then what I did was I went home and I texted everybody, hey, can you film this Thursday, Friday? It was a random day that we were not supposed to film. And so we ended up shooting it kind of impromptu like that. So there's a couple things that are missing. Like, I wanted to have a mariachi band instead of just the lone guitar player. I think that's even written into the script. Let's see.
We really were going to go all out.
Yeah, we were going to go all out. A 3-piece mariachi band appears. Yeah, so it was going to be a thing. But the core bits of everything stayed the same. This is a weird project in the sense that everything that's in the script is in the movie, but the things that are different or like added are like enhance it in so many ways. It weren't like huge things that we're scrambling to change. Obviously, I think if you've heard me talk about this, like my favorite movies of all time are the Dollars trilogy with the Clint Eastwood. So this was like around that time when I was obsessed with those movies. So I was so into it, and just that style of doing a Western with this kind of all the zoom ins and the sound effects and everything. I remember it being just a really exciting time getting to like do a genre film of like, oh my gosh, there's a map here.
You have a map of how to get to the Dick Road area?
I have a map of how to get there. Why did I print? We must have not have gone there.
Well, no, that was when it was fresh because there was the church we were trying to find around that area too that we knew about. So we'd been driving all over that place trying to find this church.
Yeah.
And that's how I think we found the bridge.
Yeah.
And we were like, we got to film something here.
Yeah.
But.
And it's, yeah, so I guess, yeah, we didn't. And we also filmed on train tracks. Not safe. Don't do it.
Very illegal. Check.
But I'm glad that we did.
Oh, it looks really good.
It looks awesome. And as I'm looking through this, yeah, all the storyboards, they're all in the movie. So again, as I was saying, this is a weird case where your movie ends up like 90% of the movie is what we had planned out. And then the 10% was all little changes. Like Wyatt's line where he says, some men, what does he say?
Some men think they run everything around here just because they have a gun.
That was totally improvised.
Yeah, Wyatt like improvises everything.
He's one of my he's one of my oldest friends. He's one of my best friends. He's absolutely hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
And he can just riff and improvise for hours. I mean, he has such great comedic timing.
Yeah.
And at the end credits, you hear him say, "You are a very righteous hombre," which was just something he came up with.
He just said that randomly.
In the script, it's like he tells Ethan, he doesn't even say anything. He's like, "Try one of these mustaches," and he goes, "What do you think? Can I recommend this one?" That's all he says. But he was like giving you compliments. Yeah. He's like trying to butter you up as a customer of his mustache stand.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just him. Travis is Travis. You know, he plays a great villain as always.
Yeah.
You played a great like, I don't know, you call it like not a cowboy, but like that lone gunslinger role. Awesome.
Yep. Old baby-faced me. I genuinely like the look of the mustaches. I'm like, shoot, those mustaches
look great. Okay. Since it's always so hard to talk, what's your experience? What do you remember about filming this?
Painfully little.
Oh no.
I don't remember any of it. I mean, I remember doing it, but I remember no like on-set things. I just remember going through it.
It was a fairly easy shoot.
Like nothing came up, nothing weird happened. I vaguely remember the text you sent out where you pushed us forward in scheduling to dodge the rain. I remember it didn't rain that weekend.
And it didn't. It didn't rain. And it was like, oh, we could have shot today, but you know what? I'm happy the movie turned out how it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just like it was a very easy shoot.
I think it's a good testament to, maybe we'll get some close-ups and B-roll of this stuff, but it's a good testament to good planning and like keeping it simple in terms of your first couple short films. No,
we didn't stretch ourselves in any ways in this one.
No.
It was just, let's get in and get out and do this thing.
Yeah.
It worked out great.
And it's a great, I mean, I think this was also one where, I think was I holding the camera for most of this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you were the one shooting it. I don't think I shot much of it.
No, I don't think so. I can't.
Travis shot some of it too.
I know he did, yeah. So
Travis even climbed up onto the bridge, like spokes, and was filming me down. And those shots didn't make it into the movie.
Yeah,
but I remember those.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So we finished it filming went smoothly, editing went even smoother. There are a couple of, I mean, on a technical level, there are a couple flaws with the movie that we can get into, but I think it's also a level of like going back to like how smooth the production went. It was smooth production, smooth writing, smooth editing, and turned out pretty concise and sweet and short and to the point. And again, like if I know we talk about like improv feature films a bunch and like, well, I mean, I guess you talk about not writing or anything. I have a whole series on screenwriting, but I think this movie, our experience on the movie, is a good testament to what good planning will do. And again, this wasn't even a really complicated short. I bet we could go out and we could shoot a short just like this.
Oh yeah.
In a couple hours now, because now we're doing like feature films and this is so tiny, but it's a good testament to like good planning. And I think when you're doing your short films, you should plan a bunch. I'm gonna be controversial. You should plan everything out. That way you know what you need to plan and what you don't need to plan, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like for me, I know that I need a storyboard. I need a comic book of my entire movie before I feel comfortable going into a movie. And I know that because I've done lots of short films where I didn't have that, or I've done lots of things where everything wasn't planned out and it went bad.
Yeah.
But I've also had lots of experiences where like I'm trying to think. See, I'm a bad example because I plan out literally everything.
Well, there's movies like Storm of the what was the one that were Tug of War? That one where we didn't plan it out. That still worked out, but
well, that
was a.
But I'm trying to think of like, okay, I'm a really bad example, but for you personally, the average person does not plan out as much as I do. So you might find storyboards useful and be like, oh, if I don't have storyboards, I'm gonna be lost. Cool, you learned it, and if you plan everything out, you're gonna learn that. But also, if you plan everything out, you might see that like, oh, I see that we have, we need all these props, but I actually don't need to plan out all the props I need because I can just remember that just fine. I don't need to go through those extra steps to do that. So you'll learn that like what you will remember and what you won't remember.
Yeah.
That's my really long-winded way of saying on your first couple of films, try planning everything out as much as you can.
Well, also when you plan everything out, what's great is when you plan everything out and you know what you need, you very quickly can, when things start going bad, you know what you can cut.
Yeah.
Like, I know, like, we'll plan out all of our perfect shots when we storyboard out our movies.
Yeah.
But it's very easy for us to be like, I don't need this shot. I don't need this shot when we need to start saving time if we need to get out of someplace quick.
Yeah.
So it helps you. You're not scrambling all the time trying to figure out, and you're not caught, saying, I don't know what I need.
Yeah.
It just cuts down on those kind of situations.
So let's get into the pros and cons with the movie, like the product itself. Let's start out with the pros. What's good about it?
Cinematography is really solid. Like, I mean, it's like we're not going crazy with it, but it's also like it's definitely got character to it. I think it's a really good looking movie.
Really?
Everything. I think so.
Okay.
Maybe
I'm super critical. I feel like the cinematography is more of a con, but it is at least.
I would say
it's all cohesive.
It's cohesive. It's cohesive. Everything reads. There's nothing weird. I mean, I would say, like, maybe it's a little shaky at times where it's like, oh, it was handheld there. It should have been on a tripod.
Yeah.
But overall, I would still say the movie looks good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll stick with that.
Cinematography. Okay. I think sound effects is a positive with the movie. Obviously, it's not a very realistic movie, and I think if you watch this movie, it's a good like example of what sound effects can do. Because try playing the movie without sound effects. The cuts don't punch as hard. So I think that's a strong point of the movie. Also, the right use of soundtrack, which kind of fits under sound and sound effects. It's not all the audio levels wise and quality wise of the actual dialogue isn't that great, but it's serviceable. You can understand. Yeah. What's another pro?
Kind of going off the sound effect stuff, leaning into the cartooniness.
Yeah.
Like we didn't. I don't know how. Did we go into this? I assume we were just copying Man with the Mustache, which is just like we were going off that cartoony vibe.
It's
But-
all the swishes are in
Yeah.
there. All of the hyper realism is totally in this movie.
So we knew that like we wanted that kind of look, and I mean just leaning into it, not being afraid to make it cartoony and weird.
Mhm.
I mean, this could be a Looney Tunes thing. It was
Yeah.
like a couple more steps further in that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think another positive is the performances.
Mhm.
No one is so. I think we've talked about this before with the Rendezvous at Midnight. When you cast people who don't fit the role, like so, and it feels like high schoolers being high schoolers.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that, but it fits the cartoony world. So I think everybody was like just right for the parts that they played.
No, everyone did great, especially that guy with the mustache.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
Yeah. I will say I wish my costume. You can clearly see I'm wearing like jeans and Converse.
Yeah.
So I wish my costume in particular was a little bit better. I wish like the stand was an actual like lemonade stand.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, like I think the strengths of the movie we can overlook those for that. What's another pro with it?
What is another pro? Good locations.
Yeah, good locations.
Good locations.
Free locations, but illegal locations.
But still good. They fit the project very well.
Yeah.
Everything about that spot was perfect for what we were trying to do.
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't know what to say more other than like find a spot that's like tailor fit your movie to the spot you're going to be shooting.
It's a movie where I think you'll see this on Righteous Hombres, our next Western that we did.
Mm-hmm.
You start to see cars and houses and porta potties in the back, and it kind of breaks that realism. Mm-hmm. This one is so isolated. I mean, there is telephone poles and wires,
But that's not outside of what a
but
Western town.
everything kind of looks like a Western. Like nothing like looks jarringly out of place, like it does in Righteous Hombres or Man with the Mustache.
Yeah,
which I think is good. I think pacing is another big thing. Big strength of this movie. It just goes by really quick. It's straight to the point. It gets in and out really, really, just really smoothly. Yeah. I don't think. I mean, I could see someone saying maybe it drag. No, you know, if you say this drags,
you're wrong.
You're wrong. No, if you think it's a little slow, that's your opinion. But in my opinion, I think the pacing is, everything it should be. And that's the thing with pacing too, is sometimes it is subjective, but it also depends on movie to movie, because I think of it like a rhythm. Some movies are like, that's their pace, that's their tempo. Other movies are right.
Yeah.
It all depends on the song. It all depends on the specific movie you're trying to do. So that's the thing with pacing. So if someone tells you, a lot of times people say something's too slow, but in actuality, they might just not like movies that are a little bit more meditative, a little longer, a little more drawn out. So that's just something to be aware.
Yeah.
I guess more as a viewer, but also like if you're listening to criticism of your work. Pacing is different from movie to movie. Yeah. No two movies should follow the same pace.
What about this movie? What movie is this? Whose pacing is this?
It's nice and steady. What's that, like 90 BPM or 80?
This is West Side Story.
Oh, West Side Story. That's okay.
They've actually seen all of West Side Story, but
everyone knows
everyone knows the snapping. Let's go into cons. I can't think of any other pros. We covered all of them. That's what I mean.
That's a good point. Yeah. Well, I mean, we kind of covered the cons. So sound for the recording. Yeah. This would have dubbing this movie would have done wonders for it and would have made it held up a lot more.
Yeah, that would have made this movie like go up from like probably an 80% to like a 95.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the big thing. Like,
again, I said color.
Like color grading. I mean, I don't entirely agree. I think I like the color grading.
Okay.
But I mean, you could call this movie a number of ways and it would still look good.
Yes, I think that's
just a personal taste.
I think it is taste, because in my head, if you're thinking like the Dollars trilogy, you're thinking like
the blues
golden
really
fields, big blues, good like saturation.
Yeah.
This is everything's just kind of.
It's like that sepia.
Yeah. Western tone, and it's fine, and that's a good example of, Oregon. I mean, where we didn't have lots of golden fields and desert. Mm-hmm. Oregon does have that, but not here. Mm-hmm. So that would be a good example of like, if you want to make. If you're envisioning a desert, but all you have is a forest, change the look of your movie to a forest, because you're not going to make a forest feel like a desert. It's always going to feel like a forest.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of vague, but I think you get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
What are other cons?
Like use a tripod more sometimes.
Yeah, I think for some of it.
For some of it. No, not saying all the time.
I think
I'm
for
just saying
the
there
action,
are some shots
the
where
action
it's like,
shots should handheld, but everything else should have been tripoded.
Yeah. Because there's that handheld jitter.
Yeah.
That can be kind of distracting.
But that could have been fixed too with stabilization, which I didn't use.
That's true.
So check your stabilization on your editing software, because that could help you out.
Mm-hmm. It's just like fine tuning.
Yeah.
It's just that kind of finessing that you kind of just, as you progress and do more projects, you just find ways to kind of get polish on your project.
Yeah.
And this is one where it's like, we were getting there. You can see the progression. You can see that we're getting better. We aren't quite where we want to be, but like a little bit goes a long ways. And this movie is so much above everything before it.
Yeah.
Just because we had those experiences before where we found ways to fix problems.
Yeah. It just a great solid, like I said, I think it's my best movie I've ever made. So I love it. I could I have so many fond memories of like this and like showing it to people. I think this might have been the first movie I showed to an audience. Mm-hmm. Maybe, I can't remember. But everybody laughed at the right parts. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize like some of the sound effects turned into jokes. Mm-hmm. Like in my head it was like whoosh, whoosh, that just made sense, but people laughed at that and it turned it into like, oh wait, sound effects are funny. And and it kind of learns like what you can do with like, just the right noise or right kind of little dink as the mustache pops
the
up.
mustache scene where I'm trying everything on is like perfectly timed, executed, like, and I was just doing it randomly. Yeah. And I didn't think, I was nervous. I think that's the one part where when we shot, I was like, I don't know how you're gonna edit this to be right, because I felt weird doing it. It was like in my head it was like one of those things where it's like, okay, I hope the director knows what he's doing. Hope you're shooting it right, because it feels weird on my end. Yeah. But obviously that came together great, and it's one of my favorite parts.
And I think when you're early on starting out, I think a good thing, like we've talked about before, is communication with your actors. And I don't think it was not an issue where I was like asking you to do something you were really uncomfortable with, but like communication does go a long way. Yeah. So sometimes if that communication is just like, trust me, this is going to work, I have a plan. Yeah. Sometimes all actors need to hear is that in a reassuring voice, and they're good. Yeah. A lot of times I say that to actors, even if I don't have a plan. Yep. And if I'm not even sure myself. But being a good leader is about like not showing fear. Yeah. To an extent.
There's one other thing actually I think would be interesting. This drags us back a little bit to pros cons, maybe a little. Yeah. Shooting chronologically is something we did not do for parts of this. Yes. And you can see because there are continuity errors throughout.
Yes, you're right.
So shoot in order, especially early on, because there's going to be little instances where things will change throughout, and it can be a pain in editing. Because there's like times where we shot Travis's defeat where we shoot off his mustache, and we shot me catching it, but we didn't shoot the part where all my clothes got shot off yet. So I still was fully dressed. Yeah. And there were parts where I had mustaches on, mustaches off. It was just kind of a little bit of a mess. It again, like, I think a lot of it you don't notice the first time. No. But once you see it, it's like, oh, yeah.
I think I would disagree. I think that's a continuity thing. That's not necessarily shooting out of order, because I think both of us, we're always like, shoot chronologically. I think that was just a continuity thing and not thinking about that. But I'm agreeing with shoot chronologically. Because you're saying shoot chronologically because of the continuity errors, but I think the continuity errors were just because
continuity errors.
We were just dumb.
Yeah, that's also possible. That's entirely possible. But shooting chronologically is a way to avoid continuity errors in general.
Absolutely. I think what was chopped off was we shot the stuff on the road, all of that first, and then we shot the train track stuff. Yeah. So that was the only thing we shot out of order. But kind of the way with like big standoffs like that, a great way to shoot it is like get all of one person's coverage. So get all of Travis.
That's how we did it. Yeah.
Then get all of yours, and then get all of my stuff. Then get stuff of the three of us. That's kind of like how I shoot. Like I like shooting standoffs like that. We just did another big standoff movie, and
I know exactly. I'm already thinking about it. Yep.
we're so excited to show it to you. But it's kind of secret right now.
Yeah, we have some top secret stuff happening.
That sci-fi movie we talked about forever ago, it's still happening. Just editing's been a pain in the butt.
Yep.
But in it, there's a showdown, and we shot it the same way. I mean, not shot it, like, we organized the shooting schedule around the coverage of the different people.
Some of it is shot the same way of a different movie we made.
Yes. Yes, that's very true, too. But yeah, like, I love this movie so much. I could probably talk about it for hours and, like, the influences. But obviously, if you enjoyed this, I would say check out, like, all of Sergio Leone's movies. Check out really any, like, a spaghetti western movie.
Yeah.
Like, Django's really good.
Yeah.
What else? I'm blanking on all the... There's one with, what's his name? Angel Eyes in The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. He's in some great... I can't remember anything. I watched so many westerns in high school, and now I can't, like... I'm spacing on all the names. But yeah, just check out spaghetti westerns, but check out, like, the Dollar Trilogy by Sergio Leone.
Good stuff.
If you like this, there's a lot of Edgar Wright in here.
Yeah.
I think when you're... Or, like, Sam Raimi. I think when you're getting into movies, they're, like...
You got it.
Once you discover shooting like Edgar Wright and Sam Raimi, you kind of do that for a while, and that's your thing.
Yeah. So fun.
Everyone goes through a phase of that, but I think... Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
I'm not trying to say anything's wrong with that.
No, so good.
Yeah, it's fun. What else? Any other last closing thoughts here?
I have a funny little story.
Okay.
That I'll make really quick, so we're running out of time.
Uh-huh.
But so you showed it to your college.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna show it to my high school at a talent show, and so we go to, like, this building where we do the talent show.
Uh-huh.
Everyone's doing their thing. It's great. All of a sudden, I've like given a flash drive. I'm like, here is my movie. Show this. This is my submission.
Oh no.
And they're like, all right, great, we love it. Like, the teachers, they saw it before. They loved the movie. Everyone was super into it, so they were really excited to play it. We get there. It's almost my turn. I mean, I just sit there and watch my movies, so it's gonna be really easy. And then all of a sudden, one of the staff comes in, and is like, Ethan, we can't get your movie to play on the computer.
No.
And I'm like, okay, well, just don't do anything. They're like, no. How about you just go on stage and do something? I'm like, what do you want me to do?
Did you do anything?
So I went up on stage and I pitched our next movie, Great American Sleepover, as a casting call. Because that's all I could do. It was pain. I was like, come shoot our movie this summer, guys.
You showed up to a talent show. Everyone's there. Are their families there?
No, it's just students.
Just students. Oh my gosh. And this... All right, next up, Ethan Hansen. Everybody's clapping. So we're making a movie this summer, and we're looking for people to be in it. And you know what's funny is we didn't get anyone from... We got one, but she was already in our friend
group. Yeah, she was already filming with us.
We didn't even get anyone.
From Beat My Heart Skip to Great American Sleepover, we got less students from my school.
Yeah.
We lost people.
Oh my gosh. I don't
time.
remember that story. Have you told that before?
I don't think I have.
That's hilarious.
Because it hurt.
What was the reception? Did people clap when you were done?
I had one of my friends tell me that was really awkward at the end. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't say no. They put me in a position where it was like, what do I do?
You could have just said, like, the dumbest knock-knock joke and then got off stage.
Well, instead, I made a dumb movie pitch.
Can I hear you? Do you remember what you said?
Not at all.
Damn it. I really would have loved to hear that.
Anyways, we're almost out of time here, folks.
Yep.
So, go watch our next movie in the series of our... If you want to be caught up. Because the next
If you want to know the movie that he pitched...
If you want to know the movie that I
school.
pitched next, go watch the next part in our Greatest Hits playlist, which is going to be the Great American Sleepover.
It's a feature film, so it's a little bit longer.
Yep, but definitely worth a watch if you want some encouragement
on
how to be a better filmmaker than us. And we'll see you in the next video, whenever that is. Subscribe if you haven't. Check out our old stuff. I mean... Yeah, I don't know. We've been making stuff for so long. There's a whole bunch of stuff on our channel. We forget what we've made half the time. Yeah. So there's plenty of stuff. We're a resource now kind of on no-budget filmmaking. If you're new to the channel, if you've made it this far. This probably should be at the beginning of the video.
Oh, well. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, but we want to encourage other filmmakers like us who just make stuff and don't make any money from it because life's pain sometimes.
Yep.
Send us your short films and features. That's something else we say sometimes. This is just dissolving.
This outro is broken.
I'm just trying to remember all the things. Subscribe for more.